ladies and gentlemen, we with a guy here, um, fiery, but lots of talent. And you know, when you're dealing with players and stuff, there are different type of players, and I've had this guy around, and obviously when I watched this guy when he wasn't playing for me, before he came back to me, I saw the extent of this guy talent. He played for three of my teams, but I think the public would be very excited to know who this person is, and I'm kind of honored to get him on the circuit. So could you introduce yourself and give me a little of your background, how you get into this ball?
Name's Peter Firebrace. My parents migrated from Barbados in '69. Well, my dad in '69, my mom came over in '70. First place that I lived as a baby was Flemington, St. Denis Drive area. Originally, when my parents migrated here, but we moved fairly when I was pretty much a baby. Moved to the east end of, we moved to one location, then further finalized in the east end of Scarborough, Port Union, right on the border of Scarborough and Pickering, Port Union, right there. And dad got me involved in football when I was about 4 years old, 4 or 5 years old. And from the very beginning, I give my dad a lot of credit because he taught me, said anything I got to do one side, I got to be able to do both sides. So I've always been blessed to be able to kick with 2 feet, because my dad instilled in me to be able from a very young age to be able to hit with both feet. So when I went into playing soccer, I was able to maneuver a lot of times with both my feet, which was very helpful for me growing up. Played house league there till first opportunity to play rep was actually with West Rouge, where I began, because I'm Canadian born. Even though my family migrated here, I'm Canadian born. And so from there, West Rouge was a very small club. So we started off B division. And I did very, very well in the B division. I think we ended up winning the B division, but it's still just a tiny club, wasn't big enough to go up to play with the big boys yet.
Well, can I ask at this point now, because I'm bursting to ask, because the 2 feet, yes. Yeah. I want to ask you, when did you height, you know, because you're about 6'1". When did you, were you taller than?
No, man, I was that kid sitting in the front row most of the times in photos. I didn't grow probably actually till I was about 18. I was one of the smaller guys most of the time, so I had to use my speed and craftiness. So that's why being able to go both ways helped me a lot. So when I finished I think it was my first year at Gilwood, at West Rouge, one of the fathers, an Italian man, Mr. Tony Lamanna, he just saw that, you know, he said, like, I'm too good to be playing here, but I didn't know any better. I was just kicking ball with friends and stuff playing in West Rouge. So he says, I'm going to take you I think there's a club that would suit you to come play. So I said, all right, cool, no problem. So picks me up and takes me over to a gym one evening and says, yeah, we're going to go try out for this team. And he brings me and his son, but he was more or less helping me out to get a look. And this time I'm only about 10 years old, something like that, 9, 10 years old. I was like, all right. So that's when I came in contact with a coach, Mr. Patrick Haddad. So Patrick Haddad is actually same coach. He coached Julian later on. Julian later on. So that was my first connection with playing some football. So through that, I met you, as you know, Sean Long. Sean Long was there in that gym. A lot of very talented guys. Another young player that a lot of people know, Paul Pesci-Solito. He was on that team when we were kids growing up. And a few years later, his cousin, Mike Ricci, who ended up playing NHL hockey, he was also on that team. We're a very good team. Like, we instilled, like, the way the team was built, we were very successful. So we won a lot of tournaments, and we got a lot of opportunities. They don't have all the stringencies that they have now, where we travel abroad, stateside, 3-4 times a year, winning tournaments. We've won tournaments in Florida, Washington, Virginia, won multiple Ontario Cups. I got multiple nationals
At the youth level.
at the youth level. Like the very first opportunity you got to play, like I think the very first chance I ever played Ontario Cup, we actually lost in the finals. So it was my first time ever like being in any kind of competitions like that. And we lost to this team Windsor, which was a very good team, which in the end found out having an illegal player. A kid migrated and he ended up being 3 years older than us. So we actually got the title that year too for that. So through that, we just that team stuck together for like I played, like I can go look in my closet. I pretty much played with that team my whole majority of my youth career growing up. So
But in this youth soccer, I'm listening to you now, and again, I wasn't seeing you guys. You guys just came on the scene with me, and it's kind of nice to hear you guys had that kind of rich background in the game. So when did you had it all together? When did you tell yourself that I think I can handle anything, anybody, anything you throw at me?
well, what had happened was when I got to 18, as I was telling you beforehand, there was no under 21. So if you had 18, if you hadn't got picked up to go somewhere big or you're traveling away for school and stuff like that, there really wasn't a whole lot. And like I said, I didn't grow till later. So funny how you know me now later on in life, but as a kid, I was a quiet kid. Like I wasn't really quite the fiery guy that I am as I got older. So as I turned 18, as I finished 18 and kind of youth soccer finished, I was kind of discouraged and I stopped playing football for like a year, maybe two.
Wow.
So it just so happened that I'm not sure exactly where I was, but I was just kicking a ball somewhere. I couldn't pinpoint. I was trying hard. When you called me to do this, I was trying hard to remember where I met these people. But a gentleman asked me to come kick a soccer ball. He said, I go, where? And he said, well, why don't you come to, they just finished the indoor facility in Mount Joyce. So he says, why don't you come up there and, play some indoor, kick a little ball. Okay, fine. I went up there and came in contact with a gentleman by the name of Win Hughes. Very nice guy. And he just said, just come. Them times I'm really young. And he's just like, yo, son, just come kick some ball. The guys were all welcoming, just said, hey, just come in. And I'm the young kid. So everybody's older. I'm just a young guy. So they're like, where do you play? I'll go, well, I like to play up top, but I can play anywhere if you need me to play. I just want to, I hadn't touched the ball in like 2 years. So I was like, whatever. Got out there now and yeah, man, it felt good. And then I just turned a couple of guys, did a couple of things, just did my thing. But by this time too, now I had grown about 3 inches. So now with growing with the 3 inches and feeling some of the hits and stuff like that, I knew, hey, no good. I can take all this now. So then we're just catching guys one-on-one, a couple guys would start chatting. And now I'm looking you eye to eye. I didn't have to look up to people no more. I'm looking you face to face now. So now it's like, all right, cool. So some guys would, guys are obviously coming to hurt you. Stuff wasn't hurt. And now I know I got the skill. Okay. And you'd always get the ball. And the first thing everybody always does when you get a ball is force him to go left. All right. You're digging it out the back of your neck.
Mistake.
Okay. Next ball you get. Okay. He wants to go left. All right. I'm a natural right footer. Digging it out of the net. Because my dad always put a big, also being able to go left and right he was always high on quality over quantity. So like your ratios had to be high. So you had to try, like, you might get a whole game where, realistically you only get a handful. You're not going to score 8, 9 goals like when you're a little kid. So when you get that 1, 2 chances, you got to try to put that away. So I always tried to make that a big thing of, if I get that chance, I'm going to make you pay. So I was fortunate. I was able to put away a lot of goals.
So
yeah.
So you do the Markham, you win championship with Markham, because this is a surprise, ladies and gentlemen, that he's telling me this. I host tournament in Mountjoy. He's been around me, and I really didn't know this guy was from Markham, but that's okay. It's a lot I suspect I don't know coming to this guy. So I'm willing to learn more when he continues. So Markham, from Markham now, because how I get to you is when Johnny Williams came to me with the Caribbean Stars, right? And then we start the GS and stuff. But I want to get in between that Markham now. What transpired between that Markham now and Caribbean Stars? Because Caribbean Stars was 95.
With Markham now, what ended up happening was towards the tail end of the season now, because now I'm back fresh on the scene. So everyone's trying to figure out who I am. So I'm getting all these opportunities now. People, this guy's calling me, this guy's calling me. A couple guys, like, you know, some guys that I know, like, yeah, you didn't know him from before. So I was like, all right, now I'm coming back into contact with guys that have seen me play, but now I've grown. So now guys are like, hey, yeah, no, he could play, and, you know, getting a lot more looks. So while playing with Markham, Davey G was friends new win. So Davey G actually came up to me, goes, I want to bring him up for a game when he was running Toronto Italia in the would it be CSL, CPSL?
Italia? I only know David G the Olympians, but okay, go on.
No, yeah, Italia.
Okay.
So that time I went over there, and that's when Lalo Maradona was up here. Ricky Titus was over there. Jens Kramer. All these guys are big men. I'm the young kid coming in the thing. So, you know, like, actually Ricky Titus took me under his wing. I gotta give him a lot of credit, because when I came in, as soon as I came into the dressing room, Ricky Titus came over to me and was like, hey, introduced himself. And I knew of Ricky, but I didn't know him. No. He took me under a wing, sat me down beside him, you know, blah, 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 blah. I was asking him questions like, what's this like? Like, you know what I mean? I'm not playing I'm just came back fresh, and boom, boom, boom. All these opportunities are coming towards me. So I'm like, all right, what's this like? He's like, well, it's just quicker, harder, faster, but you'll be fine. Okay, fine. So I sat on the bench for the first, like, I guess 45. I sat the first half. I think I came in about the 65th minute, 70th minute. And Davey G goes in. I go, well, what do I do? He goes, just go do your thing. All right. So, you know, everyone's knocking good ball, whatever. And then they played a ball off a guy. And I think like the first 2 touches I got in the game, boom, I let a left foot strike go, bang something. And everybody was all welcoming. So I was like, all right. So I ended up playing, like, finishing off. They ended up signing me. You know, you get your little bit of I don't know what you want to call it, gas money or whatever you want to call it to play. You know what I mean? So I went and did that. And, you know, I became actually good friends with little Lalo there for a while, even though, you know, the communication barrier was a little tough, but it was a good experience. You know, you get to meet him. His brother came over, you know, get to meet, like, it was nice.
That was the CSL or CNSL or C.
I'm thinking CPSL, I believe.
Okay.
I believe at that time. And I finished out the year there. And then when it came to come back, like, everybody kind of went there. Like, there was no real money in there because they're paying Lalo so much money. So it was like everything kind of disbanded, and it was just like, okay, everyone's kind of free falling about where they're going. So I kind of ended up going back to Markham. Yeah, I went back to Markham, finished out we've made it up through T&D, and we're in the OSL. So I played the 1 year, finished off a year there. And that was the year when now GS, I think, just came up. So I played a year. No, we're in the OSL already, GS. And then the next following season, GS had entered, they had qualified and entered the OSL. So now I know a bunch of people.
So was it from GS? Because as I said, Johnny mentioned you. So I guess if Johnny knew you, you probably were in GS already. Is that correct? Is that safe to say?
I knew Johnny from around the way. Like, you know, Johnny has his hands in with a lot of different people. So Johnny's seen me around the way, kicking ball, and just, I guess he kept a little bit of tabs on me. So, but we know all the same people. So what ended up happening was I played 1 more year with Markham. And then we actually did really well that season, even against GS and stuff like that. But then now it came in a communication through Paul Moore. So it was actually, my commitment to GS happened at Palmore's at a function of Palmore's. So Johnny asked me to play. He's like, "Why don't you come play, man? I want you to come play." And I had already been in contact with Dave a couple of times too, and talked to Dave. Which, at the end of the day, once I sat down and talked with Johnny and Dave, I just felt like, you know what, like being on Markham was great, and like the things that those guys did for me, people could never understand. Like even when I played for Markham, I played against a lot of black teams, and a lot of people trying to hurt me, and a lot of people trying to kick me, and a lot of people trying to pull me off my game, and this and that, because they, you get the stigma of because you play for a white team that you are washed. But then I knew men from certain teams, and men were like, not that guy. That guy's not that guy. So don't, so then that's where I gained a lot of my thick layers too. Through my own community, helped me gain a thick skin. Because you had to learn how to, like, not only do you think, like, I would never let anybody beat me. Like, I'm a ultimate competitor. Like, I don't care. You could put 2 goals in a parking lot. I don't want to lose. My motto was always, I hate losing more than I enjoy winning because I expect to win. That's just what my pops always just ingrained in me, man. Like losing just stinks. So I just hated losing, and I didn't do a lot of it. So I wasn't accepting it. I expected it of any of my teammates. Even when growing up with my youth club, we expected to win, and there was no other way that it was going to go down. Like one way or another, we were going to win that game. Whether it's pretty ball, ugly ball, we're going to win. Like we found ways. Each guy leaned on the next guy, and that's how we just built our foundation. So my foundation came well from my youth soccer.
So now you've been under the stereotype in as white
yeah.
people, as they say.
Yeah.
You handle yourself and that's good. And you end up with GS.
Yeah.
I know it's
and
different.
And on a side note with that, when I went to go play with GS, I went to Win. I went and talked to him, because even Win, as a man, took me to those guys. They said we had a golf trip. Oh, we're gonna go on a golf trip, because a lot of these guys are alumnus for a school at Wheeling, Virginia. So they're like, we're going on a golf trip tour. You should come. And them times I ain't got no money. You know what I mean? I ain't got no money for that kind of stuff. And they're like, no, just get some spending money. Don't worry. The guys will take care of it. All right, cool. So I go down to we go down to Virginia now, and we're playing this school. And I tore this school a new one. Like I was all over them, blah, blah, blah. They turn around now right there and then Win turns to the man and he goes, yeah, this is the kid I was telling you about. And the guy offers me a full ride right there on the spot. So I turned to the man. I was like, whoa, what's going on? He's like, yeah, it's a golf tournament, but we brought you down here to get seen by this school. Well, now, as has it, I'm becoming a young father. So I had to make a decision. Start school in September, because this is August now. And my child's going to be born in November. So I had to make a decision within a short period of time of what I was going to do. And just with the foundation and how I was raised and everything, I decided, I'm going to stay home. Unbeknownst to my girl and wife now and everything, like yeah. I stayed home to, just who knows where my life would have went had I gone to school, knowing myself back in those days.
Wow.
So I had decided to forgo. So so now back moving forward now, like that's what I said, I credit him a lot. So I went to him and I said, I have this opportunity, go play with some of my friends. And I'm just kind of like smoozing it, like, you know what I mean? And he's like, no, Peter, I totally understand. Like, like your friends, pretty much like I get an opportunity to go play with a black team now that's fully like, mm-hmm. Everything's coming full circle for me again now, right? So he's just saying, you know what? Take the opportunity, go play. And everybody, like all the guys were all like, go do your thing and go play. And meanwhile, we're all going to be playing in the same league and against each other. So I have to give a lot of respect to those guys at Markham that just say, you know what? Time has evolved,
Well, that's the right way to do it too. That's
like sometimes how it is in this thing. Yeah, you leave a team even for just you could be a kick about Sunday team and guys can't harbor feelings about a lot of stuff. But these guys were really like, you know, honest. And to this day, I still guys contact me, and you know, like I'm still in contact with guys from my youth team, and I'm still in contact with guys from my old high school. Like I grew up in a white neighborhood. I'm still in contact with a lot of different variations of people.
I don't want to, although
Yes.
this guy did it the right way and stuff, I don't want the public to get misled. This is the same guy, when you meet him on the field, you
Oh, yeah.
will not remember that he just made a choice to leave amicable decision because he's a competitor, as he said
Oh
earlier
yeah.
on.
Oh yeah. Don't get that
So
twisted.
you would want to know if he was kind of BSing when he talked to them and everything was nice, because he's a serious, fierce, as you're going to learn as we go along, he's a fierce competitor. So, okay, so you're going to GS, and I know I was there in 2002, and I remember you're really serious about your game. I didn't know all this about you, right? And, you know, and I had to give a lot of respect and props, more than, you know, you probably were getting before, because now that I'm getting to know you guys and realize the depth of your character, you know, because remember, it's just ball I was just dealing with, and, you know, you think about the team, and I'm kind of proud hearing up to this point how you handle yourself, and it's kind of making me think now, that's who you was. So what I need from you now, seeing that we have all this, we came into contact with each other with so many teams. I want to know, when you got into GS, how was it, that part of your career, so that I can be able to evaluate now, because you've been in and out, you did the Caribbean Stars. If I'm not mistaken, I think you went back to GS because I met you there in 2002, and Caribbean Stars was 1995. For somehow, Peter, you, because of maybe the way you keep yourself, I didn't even realize your career that long, because you all, to me, always look like a youth, you know, you always seem fresh, like, you know, so, and the way Johnny brought talk about you is like, you know, there's a youth, and he's good, right? So, and maybe, yeah, you were low-key then, but I didn't realize you were fiery, you know. So let me know now, or let the public know, how that GS thing played, and how your opportunities were coming from, because I think even with the GS thing, although the Metro Lions came, so is it from GS you actually came with Caribbean Stars? So I now getting the link that that's when Johnny.
I think, I think I did. Yeah, like I did a bit of everything in between here and there. So it's hard to really fully elapse. Like,
You're the high gun, so.
because I think when I was doing Lions also, I think at the time we were affiliated.
Yes,
I
you
was
are.
able, so I was doing both. I was doing double duty. So I was just like playing there, playing here. Anywhere I could get a run, I was taking a run anyway. You know me, man.
But before we get to the Lions, if we could touch a little bit, because I know some little challenges with the Ontario Cup at GS, and then later on is when they won the national. Were you there all along? Because I know you're a no nonsense kind of guy, and I know if you don't like certain things, what you normally do. Because I remember you with Woodbridge. Yeah, when the Woodbridge, I remember you, Renee, and Scratchy.
Yeah.
And
So
I remember the final was GS.
that was that was one of my turnover years. So one of my turnover years in
to be
between.
honest, when I said earlier, I saw you later on, and if I knew what I saw then, you know, and I knew all the tools were the same, but you were when a guy playing that well that you almost feel like there's cameras and the flashlights going off, like you were hot, hot. Of course, my allegiance, and you know, was with GS. There's no.
Oh yeah.
And I thought they were not really paying close attention, because you must know when a guy's on and when a guy's hungry, and then it's Firebrace too, so you know he's coming to prove a point.
I think in the first 5 minutes, I caught a left and rang it off the post.
Yes.
Real early in the game, I caught something and I rang it off the post. I was like, ah. So, you know, like it's funny how like we go through all that, like at the end of the day, like that was when one of my turnovers between teams and stuff, like, you know, I didn't get along you know, I had my differences at the time, and
Yeah.
you know, I was playing with Woodbridge, and we ended up getting to the finals. And it's ironic that it ended up being GS, and then GS's first victory to, like, you know, their first
Yeah, well,
time.
that
And then,
probably hurt a lot when it comes to
oh,
you.
you know what? To be honest with you, it did it because they earned it. You know what I mean? Like,
But you had some
I
substitutions that were questionable.
well, hey, I ain't the coach, man. I can't make the decisions here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah,
have my viewpoints on it, but at the end of
yeah.
the day, they won the game. You know, I can't take nothing away from none of the guys. They won the game. They're my friends. I stayed around and hung out with my friends after. I don't take it personal, but that is the one medal. Like, that's, if there's one medal I don't have, I do not have the silver from that thing. So if those guys want to hold that as their one solace, like, I've lost an Ontario Cup before and I have those medals, but that is the one medal that I do not have. I wasn't even there for the award presentation because
So what,
I was
why
mad with the
you
coach.
didn't want it? Oh, you were mad?
Well, the coach and the organization, how things transpired behind the scenes with regards to that,
Yeah.
I didn't, it's not that I didn't respect the loss. I didn't respect accepting the medal under those
Yeah,
circumstances.
you're entitled to that.
In
I did that
in that or for that organization, as salty as it may sound, but for how certain men were treated, and you know, you don't want to get into a whole thing
No,
about
no,
that,
you
but
don't have to.
for how certain men were treated during that time, I don't think the club earned my respect. So I didn't respect them by sitting there and accepting a medal with them. I shook every guy's hand on GS personally, shook everybody's hand, hug Uncle Dave, everything. But I just look at that as like, I didn't respect how certain men were treated at the time. And it wasn't even necessarily me, just other people were treated, and I walked away from it. So,
Well,
and
ladies
that,
and
so, you know, and I'm happy for my friends over there that went over there, and at the end of the day, they went and won the nationals. So, you know, all blessings to them. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I've been fortunate to win nationals in the over 35s with the same gentleman. So, you know, it comes back full circle anyway. So I'm all right with that.
yeah, no, I did that, and I respect that, and I respect people who can do that, because you know, if you feel strongly about something, I mean, I know you reach the stage now where you can do it. You can still, you see, even now you're refraining. That's why I say, Peter, you have grown, and those decisions in life you still have to, and when you try and look at it, they have to be firm and strong at some time, and nothing is wrong with that, because I know I did that in my career. You know, they used to attach radical to it, but they can attach what they want to it.
Yeah. You know me, man. I'm not afraid of nothing, so I'm comfortable with whatever decisions I make. My decisions, you know, you make your bed, you lie in it, whatever. Either way, I can stand up for myself and look people in their eye and say what I gotta say. I've never been afraid. I've never been afraid to say what's on my mind. So
Yeah,
it is what it is at this point.
yeah.
You take me
So,
for who I am.
so I don't know in between what transpired. So I knew 1995, you were referred to me by Johnny, right? And I didn't really get a good look because you know that was a star-studded team. What you thought about that experience and stuff? Because although you didn't feature in the first 1995 outdoor, and I can't remember you being there in the indoor of that outdoor, but I know you were part of the winning team
In indoor,
in,
I think I bled in more on the indoor. Like when it came to the Caribbean Stars, it was like, to be honest, I used to feel, to be honest with you, I used to feel a little slighted with that, to be honest with you, man.
yeah, you could
You have me a little slighted with that one because, well, you guys already had your team, right? So you guys had already kind of established yourself. And you know me, I'm not a guy who's just willing to sit back seat to nobody. That's just the way I am. It's just like, you know, like, it's not that I don't respect anybody who's playing ahead of me, but I'm just not rating people ahead of me. That's just who I am. I figure if I can get out there, there ain't nothing that guy can do out there that I can't do. That's just how I feel. If you give me an opportunity, okay, I'm gonna do it. And so when I do get my opportunity, even within my own teams, I'm gonna prove everybody in the whole place that they made the wrong choice.
Well, I learned that. I learned that, but of course, in the beginning, you wouldn't know that. You have to kind of,
Yeah, you know, like that's why, like, that was, if there's one thing that could have been a downfall to my own, like maybe even progressing further, could be myself, because sometimes you have to have a bit of humbleness to that. Like, as much as you're fiery and you have that attitude, not everybody understands what that's all about, or no one even has to take the time to even care about what that's all about, right? So you having a chip on your shoulder, it's not always, it's as you grow up and you get mature, you realize like when it's best to be used versus when, and I used to just use it all the time because I always felt like, I just always felt like when I was younger, I was smaller. So once I got bigger and I got like, I used to hear about this guy getting an opportunity, that guy getting an opportunity, this guy, that I used to hear about so many guys going so many places and getting a chance. And I used to sit there to myself like, why can't someone just give me, because I know if I get this chance, no one's seeing me again. Whether it's gonna happen or not gonna happen, you know what I mean? But you know, like that's just the confidence I had in myself. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that, oh, because someone you get a chance to go here, like maybe they did really well. You know what I mean? But just didn't get to go further. But I just always believed in myself. And I just always believed that no matter what, if you gave me the opportunity, I'm going to prove you wrong.
But
so
that
I
part,
used to always try to pull that through with everything that I did.
but that part is good. You're not supposed to lose that. But the first part you said with the humbleness and stuff, that's also important because now you're a dad and stuff. And if you hold on to the part that you're good and you can make any team, that's good because that you know, it's just a matter of time. Because we knew from growing up, what you can sit on the bench as soon as they give you an opportunity, it's done.
Yeah,
you're not coming off the team. That's one thing we learned very early. So that's good for that. But
it's tough when you're a striker though. Like as a striker, a lot of teams, that's their player. Like a lot of the guys on a lot of teams, that's the guy. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody wants to be the guy. Everybody wants to be. So to knock a guy off a perch is not always the easiest thing to do because maybe the guy who's playing ahead of you is doing well. But it doesn't mean that I got to accept that. Like, you know what I mean? It's great. It's great, but I want to eat off that too, right? Like I want to feed off that. I want to be that. I know I can do that too. So it's humbling sometimes.
Okay, and I can see that now, even with the first Caribbean Stars team, because you weren't there in the starting when the team started.
No,
you have deceptive talent. When you really put you on the scope, you realize, yeah, this guy really have it. But you know, as I said, people wouldn't even realize you have the two. You can kick with the two of them. You have a certain height, and you also make height, right? You can dribble, you can travel with the ball, but you know, when you look at you with the little lanky, you know, the kind of lanky look and stuff, people tell themselves, nah, he mightn't be that good or whatever. So yes, you had to have that fiery thing. But let me show you this. With Caribbean Stars now, when you came in, by the time you came in, it was tough competition. So you're right.
Oh, I know.
And I think you came in as a midfielder, if I'm not because Fitzroy Crook was kind of lighting it up, right?
Yeah,
so
well, that's what I mean. Like he was lighting it up, but so to crack that was going to be extremely hard because even at the time, I think he was leading the league in scoring.
Yes, yeah, he won the.
So there's like, you know, you can't take away what the man's doing. The man's doing his job. You know what I mean? But it was just like, I just want the opportunity. So but you can't hate, like, it's not that I was hating on the man and what he was doing. He was doing amazing. And, you know, he's a great guy. I get along great with him, but I still, it does, the competitive juices in me is like, I want to compete with him as much as competing with the rest of the league too, right?
So but if you go back now to that time, how you felt, because I know your buddy Sean didn't really stay around. And and I know you guys were close. So did you just feel, well, you know, this team ain't really ready? And I like the fact that you still give us an opportunity to come back and was part of the championship team. So I don't know what transpired in 1995 and how you came back. And I mean, you know that indoor is a tough thing. You have to be on the, you can't give guys shots. I mean, and that's your game, you know, staying hype all the way. So, you know, now that I heard that, and that makes sense to me, that you like to start, you know, play. So within a year, how you come by, you came down off of that thing?
Just never, it wasn't really so much that the bridge was never burnt. I just stepped away to play and then opportunity presented itself. And when I got my opportunity, I took it and I ran with it. So it's not that, like, if the situation isn't suiting me, I still got to do something that's good for me. So at the time, like if I'm going to go play, whether, okay, he's doing great, doesn't mean I got to sit here this whole time. I'm going to go play.
Yeah.
And then when it comes time to come back, all right, you're gonna eat your words, he's gonna eat his words, I'm just still gonna come play. At the end of the day, no matter who I play for, I'm giving my all. So it's not like I'm gonna sit there now. I didn't point judgment on anybody for that. It was just like, okay, this situation isn't suiting me at this moment, so I'm gonna go over here. Okay, I got called back to play. Cool.
So
All
let me
right,
throw
let's go.
this. So let me throw this curveball at you now.
Right.
You have that analysis of the talent, and you want him to play, and then you came back and you won the championship, but it was some of the familiar guys like Baete, but then you had Warren and stuff. What was your comfort zone? Because I realize a lot of you guys now, after the fact now, know each other and along the way, whether it be through school, through Markham or whatever. So I want to hear your take now. Did you know these guys? Did you play Magic? Any one of these T&D team?
I've played with everybody. I've done a year at Magic. I've played, I actually know Baete from like when we were kids, because Baete grew up playing at Gilwood too, but he's a year younger. Him and Renee Martin. So they were on the same team. They were the younger team watching the big team win. So, so I know him. I know his parents from like when we were kids. So it's just like as we grew up, I've even known Elvis. Like growing up as a young Black male in the city, all the parents were always familiar with one another. So even if you didn't, like all the parents would always like, you would see them and they would say hi to you. So I was always, the Smiths, they would always say hi to me. Warren's parents would always say hi to me from when we were kids, because all the parents, they're all West Indian backgrounds. So you see each other, you pass people in the mall, that's how you're raised. How you doing, Mr. Smith? How you doing, Mr. Ali? You just knew everybody. So as a tight-knit community in general, you just like, hey, you just had respect. As a young Black youth growing up, you just knew all these people. So, it's just funny how it comes full circle that people that stayed in the game, they just grew up together, and it's just like, it just flowed as one. So I guess when we got to that stage where it was Baete and I playing now we're finally at a level where we're actually going to play on the, you're not a year, the age doesn't mean nothing no more now. So Now you're just like, okay, well, I know he can play and he knows I can play. So you're just like, all right, you have that mutual respect now. Like, okay, I know what you've, and also I know what you've done and you know what I've done. So, okay, cool. This can work. You know what I mean? Whereas then maybe before, some guys like, when people migrated from abroad, they don't necessarily know who I am. I'm just some Canadian boy now. So now I got to earn that trust and respect too, right? So it just kind of flowed together. So I guess maybe the comfort zone was just the familiarity of people knowing each other now. So now it just, all right, cool. Now, this bracket of guys have left now. We're the new guys to carry the torch. Let's go. You know what I mean? And we're not going to let it fall.
I'm enjoying this information because it telling me now that how easy, I didn't even realize that how much the team gel and how much you guys knew each other. Well, I know I got the package with Warren and Baete and these guys, right? And but when they start calling your name and Anton name and stuff, I go, whoa, because I know the indoor was tight marking and you have to be there on the spot. You can't give in too much. So even on the bench watching the team, you're tense because certain players you can't give a shot and stuff. And to get Firebrace to close down on a man, if Firebrace doesn't see it that way, because indoor is a lot of response and action, right?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
And I find you guys did well. I always think about you guys and say, how did they really do it?
But at times too, like I would never be a good guy to be a captain because there's too many things that I can do that could take away from real responsibilities of being a captain. I'm not captain material. Maybe at my older age now because I'm matured and certain things, I let a lot of things go. But I was just more like, I would be more about trying to will the team over the line. Like, I ain't gonna lose. Like, I don't want to lose. You know what I mean? Like, and like you just learn from like when we were kids, like we just hated to lose. So it was just like, no matter what I gotta do, like if it's the last shot of the game and I get to take it, cool, let's go. Or if I gotta be the last guy to take one off the face to stop it from going in, cool. At the end of the day, you take your wounds, but you leave with the W. So that's the best feeling for me is knowing that, hey guys, look, we all pulled through, we won something. It's happy to win. Like, you know what I mean? I just enjoyed winning. So I always just brought that intensity. Like, you know, like sometimes I just always look like, I don't know, in certain terms, like every team needs a little shit disturber. So, you know what I mean? Like sometimes the game, like if everybody knows sometimes, people might, I know there's times I rubbed some of my teammates the wrong way, but they knew at the end of the day I was in the war with them. I was the one guy, if something went down, who do you think they're looking at? Like, you know what I mean? You guys would like to battle with me though. Might not like everything I have to do all the time, or some things I have to say sometimes, but at the end of the day, they know I'm not doing it out of malice for nobody. I'm doing it for everybody.
So getting to know you, from that indoor championship team, realizing now beyond a doubt, Midge, he have it. I decided to get you for Metro Lands. I watched the pictures and what you thought about that, because I know even I saw maturity in you then, because I remember clearly knowing that you were challenging on the GS side, because remember it was a kind of double dipping through the affiliation, right? And I remember you correctly, because I know the players who are challenging in terms of I gotta keep an eye on them and try to reason, but don't give in. Right? Because is the client either they gotta go, or they stay. No, I remember you even talking, and that's why I saw your development, talking to Courtney, because Courtney was giving some trouble and simple little things I remember, Peter. I remember you, who sometimes the perception elsewhere could have been trouble, talking to somebody in my camp that, hey, you gotta take it easy and stuff. So back to that last thing you talk about being a captain and the maturity, I saw that starting to get into you, the maturity, because I don't know if I'm sure you recall having to tell Courtney, you need to chill out,
He's like my little brother, man. I love that guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like at the end of the day, I have a respect for the guy, you know what I mean? Regardless of whatever, good guy, man. So, like, you don't want to see nothing with nobody.
Yeah,
like, at the end of the day, it's just like, like, let's go, like, let's stay on the level, because he had talent too to play. So it's just like, you keep your mutual respect. He had respect for me, I had respect for him. And even now, now he's doing great things, like out there coaching kids and stuff like that and giving back. And it's great to watch these things now. Like it's good now, like being older than some of these guys. Like now, I was the young dad and I had to dance around and run from this place and get kids to here and go here and still fit in the soccer. You know what I mean? Try not to miss a beat and this and that. Now to watch all these guys and their kids grow up, like I went to go watch Courtney's kid play on Terra Cup final the other day. You know what I mean? Like today, these guys were dragging their kids to watch us play. So the least I can do now is if I get an opportunity and I have chances and I know about some of these kids playing, well, some former teammates or anybody that I know, go support these kids, man. Like I might not be coaching because I can't deal with the parent. Not about helping out with the kids. You can't deal with these parents. They all think their kids are all going to Barcelona and all these teams when, you got to chart the path smart, but just go help support these kids and just, let them know that, like, hey, give your best, man. Like it's nice when you see, like, I see Courtney's son, he sees me at his game. You know what I mean? Just to say, hey, I'm here, man. You know what I mean? Do your thing, enjoy your ball. Like try to support as much people as I can now, because my kids are older now, so I got more free time. So if I got time to give back, if that's my way of giving back, at least try to give some form of support and, like help and cheering on some of these kids and see how I love watching these kids grow bigger and get better on with their lives, no matter what they're doing. It doesn't necessarily have to be football.
Peter, that's a big development curve. You always had it in you, but I'm definitely gonna watch this part of the video and stuff, because you always had it. You just was fiery. I always call you fire. I call you fire, and misunderstood when you're a competitor and stuff, but you have grown then, and it's nice to hear that you're even supporting Courtney and stuff, because as I say, certain things, and I think you like that too, listening to because again, and that's the thing about coaching, whether I talk to people at the international level or whatever, life is the same, the challenges is the same and stuff, and we don't know everything at the time, and sometimes you have to give a guy a little fair shake, because look how you evolve from the Firebrace. I didn't know you have children that early. As a matter of fact, coming into the circuit, I was going to ask you, but very early in this thing you mentioned about your son early, and I didn't want to be too surprised.
Yeah. First was my daughter and then my son. And yeah, man, my kids are big, man. My kids are big. So, just had them at a young age, but just, you had to just
Are
suck
they
it
in the
up for
game?
sure.
Are they in the game? They play?
Yeah, you know what? Like, no, neither. It's funny because neither one of my
Don't
kids
feel no
played.
way.
My son, like my daughter played basketball. She was tiny, but she was really good at basketball. She went, did basketball, played very high level, like AAA basketball. My son was like, he has the same kind of mentality as me, but he had the love for baseball. And he did really well. I actually went away to school on a scholarship for baseball. So he went to the States. Yeah, man, my son went away to States. But because of my experiences, I was able to help guide him. Like sports is sports. So at the end of the day, I was able to guide him in certain directions and through certain clubs and stuff to get him an opportunity to get looked at, and got fortunate to get a scholarship to go away and finished up a degree in a school down in Kentucky. So it was good. So
wow. Yeah. So how many children you have?
3. I have a daughter, 28, son 24, and a daughter 13.
What the hell? That's good. That's good going, Fire. That's good going, So everything else good, So you're not playing anymore. You play this.
Yeah, man.
Because you look like you can play.
I'm still playing. Like, so now, like, Sergio. And,
yes.
Yeah. So we've formed our own over 40s team, and we went down to with Ronnie and Serge and who else would you know? A mixture of Spanish.
I saw Serge. I mean, Ronnie with Rene, so Rene might be in that.
Yeah, Renee's there too. Yeah. And we have a team. We call ourselves La Familia, and we travel and just go to various tournaments and stuff and have fun. So we've been to Florida a couple of times, Barbados twice. We're the defending champions for the Barbados tournament over 40s, which was like 2019 now because they didn't have it in 2020. But we're the first Canadian team to ever win that tournament.
But I thought you were a separate team to Johnny and them then, because I understand.
We went down. We had a team and we went down, and then we ended up forming our own after. We went down one time with them. We had our team and a bunch of us went. We lost in the semifinals, and then it kind of just got a thing. We arranged our own thing, went down the following year and won the tournament. So we're the first over 40 team in over 20 something years of having that first ever.
Because I hear mostly the team from the Caribbean is we winning that.
Yeah, man. Well, not this time.
Wow,
yeah,
that's good. Nobody told me that.
So we're hoping to go, like, it's supposed to go on again in November. So hopefully, barring situations, like depending on the COVID situations right now, we're hoping to be able to go back to defend ourselves.
Yeah, well, I need to find out that lineup, because that's pretty good, because that's an outstanding tournament. That tournament has been going on a long time.
No. So they had, when the tournament almost kind of got disbanded, so they had, like, there was a little bit of division because there was a tournament in St. Kitts at the time. So TNT was over in St. Kitts. Vincent, one of the places had a tournament, St. Vincent maybe. So then now we ended up playing them in Florida.
How you did in Florida? Because
we lost in the semifinals to them, but then we ran them into the floor, so they got blows in the finals because half their team ran them out their bodies. So good team though, man. Good team, very good team.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying to some of the people now at the competitive national, international level. There's no such thing as island ball, and you gotta know the personnel, because these guys, they have good personnel. Because sure, the Twins, they play in the Thompson League. James and John.
They're playing with us too. They're with us.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Our team's really, we have a strong side, like a good team.
So
and
they were part of the winning team in
no, they weren't down that year, but they came back now to come play. They weren't able to go, and now they're coming for this. They're coming down in November.
Oh, okay. Taking out all the kids and everybody with this COVID, and
I was fortunate. I'm fortunate to be able to be working through all this. So I just stay. All you can do is just everyone try to be as safe as they can possibly can. Like, it is what it is, what you're getting, the hand we're dealt with right now. You know what I mean? Like, you can do what you can do. You can't do what you can do. And, just been blessed that fortunately, like, everybody in my family's okay and everything. Like, my parents live back in Barbados, so it's been tough. I haven't been able to go back because of all the restrictions and stuff. But, hopefully, whether the tournament's on or off, I'm probably just going to go anyway because I haven't seen my parents in like 2 years. So,
Oh, you have people lobbying and giving you easy schedule for you to win the tournament. Your parents and them doing some lobbying down there with this tournament while you win the tournament.
And we earned the stripes, man. We earned the stripes, man. We earned our stripes. I don't want no easy path. You know me, man. I don't want no cheap victories. I want to play the best teams. I don't matter how old I am. The way I see it is I'm winding down in my days of being able to play. So as long as I can still continue to play, I'm going to try to play as long as I can play until the body says, you know what, you got to give it up. Because, like, you can remember back to when you were younger and you could kick around the ball and, you get the jokes, you get together with some of the old fellas and you get to sit back and laugh and enjoy the victories. Like, I've been fortunate to win a lot in this country. You know what I mean? When it comes down, like, I was at the Ontario Cup the other day and a man was saying how, this Ontario Cup's eluded me. And me and Sean were standing together. We just started laughing. He's like, well, what happened to you? I go, buddy, I have about 10 of these things. I got about 7 nationals. Like, you know what I mean? So It's not, I've been fortunate to play with good players, be on good teams.
So if you look at your whole career now, I know you're winning with the old boys, you've won a lot and stuff. What are the moments you kind of, or even the moment that to you cherish the most in terms of your career? You can't seem to shake in terms of success, in terms of accomplishment or learning lesson, or what is that moment that feel that it was big towards you having all this success?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, for two, I have two. My first one, I would say, is winning first opportunity to go to nationals, because for all the hoopla that our team has done, and at them times, like, we're winning here, winning there, winning abroad, like your first opportunity to get your chance to, you win the Ontario Cup, you hear about nationals. You don't really know nothing about it. You're like 14, 15 years old. You hear about it. Okay, fine. You win you win the Ontario Cup, and now we flew out to BC. So now you're playing all the different provinces now. So you're hearing this name and that name and this guy. Some guys from this thing turned pro and got big names, and yeah, that's a whole nother story. But then you get there now, and you go and you watch you see the first. We got there and we had to watch the first game. And British Columbia put a beating on some team. So you're like, wow. And you hear that's a goal differential thing. It's not no semifinals or nothing like that. So, this team put like a 7-0 on a team. So you're like, wow, well, we got to beat this team by more than 7. Well, we gave the team 16. So then now you're like, all right, boom, boom, boom. So you get to play these guys now. It's, for all the marbles. It's for all the marbles. We're playing in Swangard Stadium. They got us up in front of all these people. You got Leonard Doozy, you got Taylor, you got all these big wigs, because BC has all the big, the big ballers and all the heads and stuff like that. Well, we put a beating on this team. You know what I mean? And to know that we dominated all of Canada at that time. So you dominate Canada.
Which team you were with?
Gilwood. Okay. So we dominated Canada. See, this is the one thing I'll always.
Senior age group, youth group, or senior
youth. So we're like 15 years old. U15, I believe it is. So how I look at it as a turning point is, okay, so we won nationals. The next year, very next summer, they had the Junior World Cup under 16 in Toronto. If you believe it, there wasn't one kid from our team on that team. But I saw kids that played on these other teams playing in that. So if that can make any sense for anybody, speaks for itself, right? So that's my first one. My second one was actually winning that Barbados tournament, because for all the years that I played all my football and everything and soccer and everything, to go back to my family's country. So I go back to Barbados. My dad hasn't seen me really play football in years. So to watch my dad like smile, like, yo, those guys, like, I got to give the guys a lot of credit because my dad was like a little kid running up and down the sidelines, laughing at his friends. Yeah, that's my boy's. That's my boy. Like, you know what I mean? So it like, you know, like for me, my dad's like a lot to me. You know what I mean? He's like my hero. You know, he taught me a lot about life, a lot of things that obviously you don't listen to because you think you're smarter than anybody, but you know, he's a real wise man. So for him to bring him back to like when I was like a little kid, watching me win my nationals for the first time, and then to come see me as a grown man win again, yeah, that made everything come back full circle for me. So that's like one of my proudest. It's a small trophy, but that's like probably my favorite trophy. Just watching and my two parents holding up my trophy at the end of winning that tournament, like that's like my favorite, like one of my favorite moments because it brought back my childhood to bring me back to, you know, being a grown man, and it brought my childhood, everything back together. So that's what my full circle of my football feels for me.
With an answer like that, I have to give you the two. I have to give you the two answers because that you can't tie it up better than that. That's a very good answers. That's very good answers.
Who's in that? My wife, my sister, my mom, and my dad.
And hopefully someday I can meet your dad because Barbados is a nice place to be. Expensive, but
yeah, it's true.
expensive, but nice place. Nice place. I didn't even know you had that background. I didn't even know that was your background. So well,
Yeah.
Peter boy, it was nice having you. You look good and you look like you can ready to play. Them guys could call you right now for a game.
I try. Don't let the looks fool you. The body will remind me in the morning, man. Don't worry.
So I want to thank you for giving me the time, Peter.
No, you know what? I'm honored that you even thought of even talking to me. Like, I know one never talks to me about this kind of stuff. I just, you know, usually it's just bar talk. You have some fun and you kick it around. But you know, I appreciate that. You know, like you even thought of even talking to me, and it's great talking to you too.
Yeah, man, because you're a quality guy. You know, people sometimes you have to look a little beyond, and I can do that. You know, I just still keep an eye on everybody. You know, and because you wish everybody well. You know, and I'm glad that you're doing well. You know, like honor that you accept the invitation to be on. I think people gonna say, well, Major, you get fire, boy. You know, it's like, so thanks again for giving me the time, man.
No problem. Anytime,
All right,
man.
so you take care.
All right, you have a good night.
All right.
Well, tournament-wise, it was tight. We went through the last three stages: the quarters, the semis, and the finals. All went to penalty shot decisions. And in the final game, we were tied 0-0 after regulation. And our goalie came up with one key save in the penalty shots, and none of us missed. Our last kicker, Mike, scored on the last penalty shot to win the tournament. They missed on their third kick, I believe. Their third kick. Everybody had completed their goals up to the third shooter. And then we finished the game off. We finished the game off with Mike sealing off the game with finishing on the final PK.